Can you tell us what is special about your milk?
About our milk, all right? Our milk comes from the black and white cows. They're fed a special diet which makes the milk very creamy, and when we sell the milk and make the cheese, we don't pasteurise the milk, which gives a better flavour.
Why do you have to have a special diet for the cows?
Well, it's like us. When we eat a good diet, we look better and we feel better, and it's the same with the cows. If the cows are fed a special diet, then they will look better, they'll be healthier, and they'll produce better milk.
And what do you mean by you don't change? What you said after you have the milk, you don't do anything to it?
We don't pasteurise it. When you buy milk in the shops, it's gone through a special process called pasteurisation. We don't do that. We use the milk straight from the cow to sell to the public and to make our cheese and yoghurt.
Why do you need to pasteurize your milk?
Well, that's very debatable. A lot of it, because of tuberculosis, milk was historically pasteurised, and that took away all the bad bugs. But it also destroys quite a few of the good bugs. So there's a little bit of a split. Some people think pasteurising is the best thing to do, and some people think it's best to leave the milk as it is.
Does that mean this milk is safe for anyone to eat?
That again is a subject for debate. Some people think that the health benefits of unpasteurised milk are greater than the risks. Other people think that because you don't pasteurise the milk, that there are some bad bugs, some bad bacteria left in the milk. But a lot of it depends on how the farmer milks his cows and how clean his milk is.
So if you had a dirty bucket, then you have loads of bacteria and stuff like that?
That's right. So because we sell unpasteurised milk, we're tested all the time. Our milk is tested a lot more than milk which goes for pasteurisation, just to make sure it's always clean.
What sort of things can you make from milk?
We can make cheese. We can separate the milk into cream and skim milk. From the cream we can make creme fraiche. From the milk we make yoghurts, and we can also make a very old cheese called quark, which is a bit like a cottage cheese. We can also make butter from milk, which we don't at the moment, and we can also make ice cream, or gelato, which is made more from milk than cream.
How do you make cheese?
How do you make cheese? Okay. Well, you collect the milk from the cow, and it's best to collect it at the temperature that it's milked at, which is probably about 35 degrees centigrade. You then add a special culture to the milk, stir it slowly, and the culture will determine the type of cheese you make, the quality of the cheese, the taste of the cheese. After a while you add stuff called rennet, which coagulates the milk, so it goes into almost like a custard after about half an hour. You then put what's called a harp, which is a little bit like guitar strings, through the milk, and that separates the curds and whey. If you remember Little Miss Muffet talked about the curds and the whey, it separates the curds and the whey, so you get pieces of what looks like cottage cheese, and you get lots of yellowy liquid, which is the whey. You then leave it for a while, heat it up, and the heat that you heat it to, plus the size of the little curds, determines the type of cheese, the hardness of the cheese, the softness of the cheese. You then put it into moulds, which got little holes which drain away the whey, and what's left in the moulds is what is eventually going to be your cheese.
What does the cheese taste like?
Would you like to taste some? I can take you down to the shop. Some of our cheese is quite soft, a little bit like an Edam, and some of it, the big cheese, is harder, a bit more like a cheddar. But I can take you down to the shop and you have a taste if you like. This is our mild cheese. A lot of people call it the family cheese. We mature this we make about 26 of these at a time. It takes 250 litres of milk to make that number. And we mature it in our room for about 10 weeks.
Do you have to do that?
You have to mature it. When it comes out, it's just like a very soft, white. I can't actually show you any because I haven't made any since last week. But they come out very white, very soft. Do you know those stress balls? They feel a bit like that. Oh. They don't fall apart, but they're very, very soft and rubbery.
Like Play-Doh?
A bit like Play-Doh when they come out, yes. and then they slowly harden up and you get a nice skin. And after about 10 weeks, they look like this.
So that has been done for 10 weeks.
That's been done for 10 weeks, yes. And we give it a little scrub to make the surface nice and even, and then we pack it, vacuum pack it, and sell it. This is a mild cheese, and it melts nicely, so people like to put it on pizzas and baked potatoes and things. There we go. Do you like cheese?
I like a certain cheese. I'm not like
Come a bit closer.
Okay, well have a taste of this, see if you like it or not.
Thank you.
I'm taking very small pieces. Okay.
Big piece, thank you very much.
I think it's like really, really strong.
You think it's strong? Quite
Tastes
creamy?
nice though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really strong and creamy.
Yeah, children tend to like it. We find we sell a lot to families with young children.
Tastes like nuts.
Hmm?
Tastes like nuts.
Tastes like nuts.
Nuts.
Creamy nuts.
The Swiss cheeses tend to be quite much sweeter cheeses than something like a cheddar.
How long have you been making cheese?
For about 4.5 to 5 years now.
It's very expert.
No. We only make Swiss cheese. There are lots and lots of different types of cheese which are made in different ways. The cheese we make is a Swiss cheese. I don't know how to make the others.
Oh.
This one is again a Swiss recipe, but it comes in a big round, and we make 6 of these from 250 litres of milk, and these mature for a minimum of 5 or 6 months. Some bits there. Okay, let's try that one. That one in fact is 6 months old. It's probably a bit more like you probably think it's a bit more like a cheddar.
So what do you think to that one?
Whoa.
Tastes like tree string things with cheese.
Cheese strings.
That's fine, you can come with cheese strings
tastes
are
like
popular.
It's more a cheddar. Like,
More of a cheddar one?
which one do you prefer? The first one or the
Both
second
of
one?
them.
You like both of them?
Yeah, that's good. The Swiss cheeses tend to be quite similar. A lot of them quite similar.
I like cheese now.
This one is the same as that one, but it's a year old. You see that's got a slightly darker colour, and it's harder. And they're quite heavy. Each one of these weighs about 3 kilos. Right, let's try that one. It's the same cheese as the last one, but a little colder. It's older.
Thank
and a bit
you.
harder.
What do you think to that?
It's harder. It's like really hard to compare the other one.
Tastes like cheese and toast.
What do you think about the flavour? Do you think it's a bit stronger than the last one?
Yeah.
It's a bit crunchy as well.
Tends to get little salt crystals or salt granules in it as it gets older. Because we don't put any salt in, we're actually making it. We do salt washes, and the salt goes into the cheese that way. This one's an acquired taste. Some people absolutely love it, and they put it on their salads or is it like parmesan? But some local chefs love it, and they take it to their restaurants, which is nice.
Yeah.
Started using it. Right, try that. That's very different. You can see all the little salt crystals in it.
Little bit.
It is very strong.
Go on.
Be brave. It's too much, or is it too strong?
So we've got shaking of heads here. Was that not to your palate?
3 years.
It was nice, but it wasn't nice at the same time. Like, the flavours were nice, but then, like, the aftertaste felt really weird in my mouth.
Very strong, isn't
Yeah.
it? Very strong. And you can taste the salt
Yeah.
in it.
Is it hard to make?
No, cheese is not hard to make, but it's like a recipe for a cake. You have to follow it correctly. If you don't follow the recipe correctly, things will go wrong and it won't work. But if you do exactly as the recipe tells you, and follow all the procedures, then it will work.